We'll call the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority meeting to order. Today's June 17th, 2026, 10 a.m. I'll do the land acknowledgement. Kettle Creek Conservation Authority wishes to acknowledge the treaties of the traditional lands originally occupied by the Indigenous First Nations peoples of the Anishinaabe, Adirondacks, and Haudenosaunee Nations. KCCA strives to build meaningful relationships with Indigenous communities and recognizes the importance of respecting these treaties and lands. Remind the group of pecuniary interests and look for approval of the minutes from last meeting. Grant? Karen?
Baldwin's hand.
No, she's there.
Muted.
Unmute. Oh, she can't hear us.
Where is she? There she is. I see a wave.
Okay.
Yes, Frank Burrs,
Yes.
Jim Herbert,
Yes.
Grant Jones,
Yes.
Sharon McMillan, Jerry Pribble,
Yes.
JJ Strybosh,
Yes.
Sam Trousseau sent regrets, John Wilson,
Yes.
and Todd Noble.
Yes.
Wow.
And that motion passes.
Right.
Good.
Matters arising, media report, Betsy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first social post we're featuring is the Kettle Creek Food Truck Festival that took place on June 6th. The next was, we had about 40 students from Central Alberta Collegiate come out to our office to help plant 1,000 seedlings in the field. The next was a post featuring the spring keeper. We had an article in the Free Press which focused on noxious weeds and had Jeff featured in that article. And then we had Rogers TV come out and do a couple of interviews, one with Mike promoting the May long weekend at Lake Whitaker, and then Jesse spoke to the Kettle Creek Food Truck Festival as well.
Thank you. Any questions, Jim?
Yes, to the chair. So Betsy, with the cabins, are they all booked up now, the cabins?
Yes, I believe the weekends of the cabins are booked basically throughout the summer with some weekday availability still remaining.
Is there a length of stay can they do the whole summer? Or is it can they only a month at a time or a week at a time? How's that work out?
It's typically more transient, so people are booking, it's a minimum 2 nights. But there are some that stay a bit longer, but generally it's a shorter stay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? John?
This isn't sort of media, but it is one of the bookings of the cabin. If there is a blank where it's 1 day, you can't book that. Even it's supposed to be 2-day minimum, but if the availability is just 1 day, you can't book that. Just because April has tried.
Okay,
But it just,
it's policy.
well, yeah, but it's just if I know has to be cleaned each time it's used. But there's days that aren't getting booked because you can't book it. I know you want to have it 2 days minimum, but if it's 6 days a week and it's 2 day minimum, there's 1 day left over. So
We'll take that back to staff and see what we can do.
I don't know how to get around it, but
Okay.
it's like 2 day minimum, unless only 1 day. I don't know. I'm not a show
JJ?
Yeah, I go to a private park that has cabins like this, and they have a 2-day minimum, and this exact situation happens, but they're set up so that you can call them and then book into that 1 day. So maybe we could be offering that kind of just a workaround.
We can certainly look into that. It's a good suggestion.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Project tracking.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we're in the thick of the season. Jen has started up the flood mapping program with Blue Coast Engineering. We've had our first kickoff meeting on May 26th. Betsy, as she mentioned, has done several outreach programs with the Environmental Youth Corps, including planting 550 seedlings at Stanley Lyle Grove. All the tree planting sites have been concluded for the year, and we planted 43,000 on over 25 sites this year. We also, the Lake Whitaker cabins, as mentioned, are now booked every weekend until the last weekend of September. I think is the only one that has availability on the weekends. And we did have the administrative boardroom basement painted as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Jim?
Through the chair, is it Jen that attended? Who attended the conference at Western?
Oh, that was me.
Jen.
Sorry. Yes.
So it was a great conference on flood management, which is a big topic, but it says adapting to global change. I wonder if you could comment on any new innovative changes that might come about.
Mr. Chair, to Jim, the biggest eye opener for that conference was that globally, we're all dealing with the same issues. We're all dealing with, outdated mapping and trying to update those maps. Dealing with climate change and how it's affecting weather patterns around the world. How to communicate flooding effectively to the public. It seems like everyone is dealing with those same issues, and it was interesting to see the new tools and tools and tricks that other countries are using that we can, either we're already using or we can adapt maybe to use in our watershed.
In the whole example, I think was like 55.
Just asking a question. For the radio stations. There's something there that we might adapt here.
Well, they're using a lot of modeling, and that's something that we're investigating and using ourselves. Models are different for different watersheds, but it is something that we're building on into our program as well. But definitely climate change is a factor, so that's something that we're looking at as well. It was just really interesting to see that we're not alone. It's worldwide.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I did want to highlight the Kettle Creek Food Truck Festival. So that was held on June 6th. Approximately 1,000 people attended the event, and the day of we had 17,000 in funding already generated. We're just waiting on the final donations from the food trucks to see what our total funds will be, but it was a very successful day. And kudos again to Jesse for taking that on and organizing another successful event.
Wow, amazing. Good. Any questions? No? All right, watershed reports. Then,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The water levels in the lake are fluctuating. They're actually above the long-term average right at the moment. But still well below the record highs that we experienced in 2019 and 2020. We did receive 112% of the average total rainfall, so we did get a good amount of rain last month, about 85 millimeters. And they are, the Environment Canada Outlook is saying about, well, when this was near normal temperatures and normal precipitation, now it's more temperatures. Precipitation just slightly change.
sure.
So the Great Lakes, they do fluctuate seasonally and they fluctuate in a long pattern as well. It's closer to about 20 years. Seeing that long-term decline in the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years. We did see a little bit of an uptick, but I think in the long term. Status quo, but well, it's hard to say. I mean, it also depends on how rain you get, how much snow you get, how much ice you get in the winter, how much evaporation you get. But I mean, I could show you some long-term graphs later, I can even see the cycle. So I think questions of that, I was really need to see. Yeah. Okay. Dance. Down to where she's having problems with her. There she is.
I'm having problem with my audio. You guys are breaking up.
Yeah, it's not just you, Lori. I can't make anything out that they're saying mostly.
Yeah, she can't hear us.
Try to troubleshoot that, Lori and JJ. Oh, geez. AJ Srivash.
Yes.
Entitled, yes. Passes.
Situations in the empty session.
So Chair, we did have the invitation session. Terms of conservation agency. That was shared with all CAs. Strategies. I understand that a similar session has occurred with municipalities. The information is touch on a few of those things later. Agenda and get to the budget. Second piece of correspondence was released on the afternoon. And the province was coming out with another ERO posting this time to updated technical guides for the river and stream. We have engineer who's at the July meeting. Right now, it was you. Here's what major change in the technical guides is that municipalities and cities to assume that a dam is present. They're doing the but you have to meet some fairly rigid restrictions to do that. Unregulated areas further downstream of the dam, we're seeing the dams there. Is assuming the dam has failed. So that increases the regulated area downstream. So it's take a look at that and provide some that July meeting. The feedback is welcomed until August 11th, so we still have time of the job. I need to take those technical updates.
Seems fairly terrifying. Sorry, if my comment, not anybody else's.
Okay. So. The storm that we had on Sunday. I went some thing about 2 inches of rain.
Okay.
Instead, we got about 4 inches of rain. I've heard stories of 7 inches of rain. I'm not sure where this is all going. How are they going to deal with the tennis coming to the conference floor? This province looking at that, something stuff like this. I guess that's not concerned.
Yeah, I saw some of the water that had collected in the fields and then washed right up to the edge of the roads. You're right as well. It doesn't really make sense to doing this.
Also, really was put out just all on the road about that thick.
Three malls.
For
Three malls.
100 feet, it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, may I suggest that we pause just for a minute? The audio is not working online. It's fairly jumpy. And so Jess is going to come in and see if we can't troubleshoot that.
Okay.
If we can just pause for a minute.
Coffee break.
Yeah.
Jesse, can you unmute for a second so I can see if the sound is working?
Working.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I can hear you loud and clear, Lori and John.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that better, Lori and JJ?
Yes, thank you.
It's blue here, so it's working. Report was good.
Quite the scenery.
Okay, we'll resume if everyone can hear us.
All right, we're back.
We just need a motion, Mr. Chair, then to accept the correspondence.
Can I get a mover and seconder to accept the correspondence? Sharon, John,
Nobody's put anything in the two people, yeah. The one guy.
Baldwin Sands,
Yes,
Frank Burrs,
Yes.
Jim Herbert,
We're voting on the motion again, are we?
correspondence.
Oh, yes,
Didn't vote on it.
yes, thank you.
Grant Jones.
Yes.
Sharon McMillan.
Yes.
JJ Strybosh,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
and Noble.
yes,
And that motion passes.
all right. And new business, 2026 WECI application.
Sure. So as the members recall, we did submit an application to the Water and Erosion Control Infrastructure Program back in March. And that was basically for the application for the full project was estimated at 1.7 million. Staff were notified on May 26th that the WECI committee had completed the review. And we ranked out with two other projects right at the cutoff level for this year. Because of that, none of the projects this year were ranked higher than $1 million. So the biggest grant that was awarded this year was 500,000. So the committee looked at those three projects and decided to give each of us 289,461. We were notified of that basically on May 26th and given to basically June 3rd, I think, to respond back as to whether or not we thought we could scope the project and proceed. In order to scope down a project from 1.7 million to basically 578,000 is a little difficult and daunting. We reached out to the engineer from GD Valley that we've been working with. They really want to go out and take a look at the dam, do their spring assessment of it. And the plan is to do the spring assessment and to look at what we can scope down to that $780,000 level. There's a possibility that we could do the spillway for that amount, but then there would still be the whole rest of the project, another $1 million+ project yet to do. The other caveat is that with WECI funding, you need to have the entire project done by March 17th. So when we look at going out at this time of year to, first of all, scope the project. Second of all, go out to bid, get successful bids in, then plan the project. I do fear that the timeline is just not going to work out, but I didn't want to pass up on the chance for something to work. So the board report was basically set out that we would work with the engineer to try to scope that project, knowing what the caveats are. That we wouldn't proceed with the project unless we knew that we could meet those tight timelines and restrictions. In order to meet the matching funds, it would mean an unbudgeted drawdown on the reserves. The funds are there. I won't say that it won't stress the reserves to do that, but it seems, when we get matching funds, I think it's an opportunity to go out and do it. If we can make it work. In reality, what I think is more likely that we would come back in July with is that the engineer has gone out and seen some, I won't call it patchwork, but some holes or voids that we can fill or look at. And he's hopefully going to identify those really key emergency, I use the word, to do that we could take advantage of these funds and get something done. But what the scale of that project looks like, I don't yet know. So what I'm asking for today is basically, sorry, and I should mention that at the level, if the project was scoped at the 578,000, we do have to go and ask the province for anything that's beyond 150,000 now. So we would also have to ask the province for permission to proceed with the project. I'm told that they're meeting every Tuesday to discuss and review any requests that come in under that minister's direction. And so far, they've been able to give pretty speedy responses within the week of a request going in. But it is an extra step that we'd have to undertake to make sure that they're okay with us proceeding with any project that's above the $150,000.
Okay, questions, Frank?
So was the whole scope 1.7?
Yes.
And then, you're not gonna come in at 578, 922, so you're gonna go over, so. This is gonna be, we're gonna take advantage of WECI, it's gonna be a Band-Aid. But what is it, February, we go into the greater hole, so then it becomes the problem of whatever region we're in, is that it?
Correct.
Yeah, so, yeah, interesting mindset. Do the right things, just let it, kind of kick it down the road. We're gonna be doing, we can do the spillway probably for this, right?
That's what my
Okay.
request is of the engineer. I don't know what they'll say about that, but
Yes, I-
that's based on the scope that we originally had. We may be able to do it for 578,000. But the caveat is that at this time of year, most of the firms already have their projects set for the year. So going out to tender at this time is either going to be over, I'm projecting, but could most likely will be over budget or not be very competitive because most firms have locked in their projects of this magnitude for the year.
So basically, we go for this. You're recommending go for it to take advantage of the WECI funding. We'll do what we can. And then the whole problem moves forward into the greater regional thing for their assessment, right? When we get to that, that board is gonna have to determine whether your request is valid to do anything about the dam, right? And that's gonna be more studies, more reports.
Basically, you have a couple of options. Right now, you can accept the WECI funding and work with the engineer and see what you can do with that budget that makes sense, that can be achieved in the timeline and doesn't overly burden our reserves. The second is you can decline the WECI funding and just say that we can't scope the project based on the timelines. Those are basically the two.
Those are
the two options right now. Jen has checked with the WECI program. There really is no penalty to us doing either option in terms of going back and reapplying next year for funding. This is one of the questions I asked was if we decline it now, does that prevent us or look bad on us reapplying in the future?
I don't know, do we have to pay for the engineer to do the assessment for this? So that's another cost,
Yeah.
whether we proceed or not. I think your points are valid. You're not gonna get a contractor to do it this season, I don't think.
The engineer, that was one of the first things they raised, but
Okay,
There,
thank you.
there is a lot of moving parts to it. Now, the one thing I look at is if we do put, say, $600,000 into it, it increases the value of continuing to invest in the dam. If we don't put any money into it, not knowing what's going to happen in February, you haven't put any money into the dam. So maybe the dam they'll just be like, let's just do away with it or just let it continue to fail. So if you put some value into it, it increases that likelihood that we get to keep the dam. I have Grant and then Jim.
Yeah,
Thanks, Chair. Reality is, if you can get a contractor, it's gonna be very late season and possibly into the winter. That raises costs, and if they can be willing to do it during the winter times, I take it they're gonna remove the spillway and redo it, not just face it.
Jen, I don't know what the project entailed, but I don't think it's a complete.
No, yeah,
It's
Mr.
not a
Chair.
complete takeout. That's a big hunk of concrete. It's more of a filling the voids and refacing it.
Yeah, they cut out around the voids and, rebar it and then refill and patch. I know it's not a full removal as far as my understanding.
very difficult to do in the wintertime.
There definitely is a preferred window to do a project of this nature, and we're probably past that in terms of organizing it. If the board is feeling that way, it's probably better now to identify that so that this money gets reallocated now back into the program to projects that are underway or going, than wait to the end of the year and give it back. Would you agree, Jen, to be fair to the other CAs that have projects underway? But I did want you to be aware of it and for that decision to come from the board as whether or not you want to try to do what you can with this funds or leave it with the province to reallocate.
Jim, do you have a
Here, I don't know how many years we talked about this deal with Van Dam. It's been on the agenda for eons. I would support moving forward with the funds they've given us. If something happens to that dam, some God bid, some kid gets hurt or someone gets hurt, they're gonna say it was our problem because we refused to do anything till future time. So I'm happy to take what we've got. It's a Band-Aid, but they're giving us, so let's work with it and see what happens next year. That would be, I'll support your option of working with the funds they've given us and do something to it, so.
Sure.
Yeah, through the chair. If we, excuse me. If we accepted that $289,461, that cannot be held in an account until, right? Because it's got to be spent in the year that
It has to be spent by March 15th. The project has to be wound up and spent by March 15th. And we match whatever we take from the program.
So can any of the engineering fees come out of that?
Yes.
Okay, so we would be looking at taking some, no matter what, if we decided to go ahead with this, we would be looking at taking some money out of our reserves.
Yes.
Yeah, so does that have any impact on the overall picture once we did the transition? In terms of the whole new group of CAs joining in to the East Lake area? Is there any repercussion? I'm just trying to look a little bit down the road about how we do this. I mean, I do agree with Jim, even my time on the board, we have spent a lot of time talking about what we do with this dam.
Mhm.
But the problem is that we just didn't get enough to do a complete retrofit of the dam or rebuild. In the meantime, if sometime down the road, the province decides, no, we're not going to, then that takes away the whole recreational area too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I think this is a little bit a rock and a hard place.
So, Mr. Chair, in answer to Sharon's question, the 4-year budget cycle the 4-year budget cycle was planning for the Dalewood Dam full reconditioning, trying to do it with our own reserves, probably 2027, 2028, and that would put pressure on our reserves. So the motion from the board previously was to put it to WECI, knowing that we'd have to get matching funds from reserves or another party. We haven't found any other funding sources at this time to support the dam. So it is a 50-50% match with WECI. My understanding from the board is you don't think that this is going to fly to go out to municipalities with a capital levy, especially at this time. So all matching funds for anything that we do on the dam would need to come from reserves. If you go back a slide, Jesse, I think I have the numbers up there of one more of what the reserves would sit at if you go ahead with this. So the addition of the project would result in a total anticipated drawdown of the capital reserves of 360 this year, almost doubling what you had budgeted for it. And that's if we, if we are able to scale up a project of almost 600,000, so we're matching it with 3. It is a unbudgeted drawdown in your capital reserves of 300. So it does mean that you would be going into the consolidation with a significant decrease in your capital reserves that we really hadn't budgeted for.
How big are the reserves of the other CAs?
Well,
Like, if we have a reserve to give, we're on the plus side of it. I don't know if everyone else is in that position or not, so.
Certainly, I know the Grand has a significant reserve set aside for, they have 20 more dams like Dewa Dam. And so they have been building up the reserves to handle some of these infrastructure projects.
Frank?
Yeah, so if we, you made a recommendation and Jim supports it. We get the engineer to look at it. There's issues of can we get a contractor in place to do it, but that opinion from the engineer, will that give us a path forward to follow? Do the spillway, do this, so that there's a path forward that they're recommending they can do it. And you're also adding extra costs because you've got to establish infrastructure to do it, right? And then you take it down, then you got to put it back to do this. The key thing is the cheapest way is to do it all at the same time. So if it gives us a path forward, we could do the spillway, apply for another grant, or God knows what happens, and do this part next. They would rank it, would they? Would they rank what needs to be done next and in what order, or?
They can certainly do that.
I think
The full scope of the project has always said that the spillway was probably the priority. I think that's changed a little bit, and because the conditions of the wing walls has now deteriorated faster than the spillway is deteriorating. But that being said, the spillways are the bigger portion of the cost. The spillways are the ones that are like 1.2 million to do. Definitely chunking it into two projects does mean that in certain sense you're paying for costs twice, because you have your mobilization costs, which are a big expense for a project of this nature.
Yeah, okay. So basically, by answering my question, I think you made up my mind that we should see what the engineer says, try to work with WECI. It takes us down the road, and then we know what would be the next priority based on at this time, right? Because it could change depending on deterioration of another part or God knows what. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go JJ, then Jim, then John.
Yeah, for me, the reality that we kind of are going to cease to exist as we, in what we now recognize as this authority, makes a difference. I would be hesitant to be jumping into our reserve funds this way, except that in a year we don't know, do we have the reserve funds, like what happens with all that. So my sense is to just, do as much as we can with what we got, do that now to try to extend the health of the dam. Whatever the engineers recommend to do that we can do within that amount of money, I would be in favor of doing that, even though we would be pulling money from the reserve.
Thanks, JJ. Jim?
Oh, yeah, to the chair. I think I've been on this board now for 7 years. How many engineer reports have we had on that dam? That's my first question. This is not the first engineer's report we've had on that dam, correct?
Oh,
Pardon?
no,
So is it the same company doing the same engineer doing the same report?
yes.
So would he not, he's not starting from square one, he's got engineer reports back. There can't be that big a difference from what we had in the last one to what we have now.
No, but the condition of the dam changes every season, right?
Exactly, so it's got worse. So back to my original saying, we need to do something now. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna support, that we do something. If we have to use some reserve, we use them. We've talked about it for so many years. Anyway, fine, thank you.
John?
It's, our decision making on it has been really easy because we didn't have any funding before. So we didn't do anything. Now we've got some funding. I think we should try to do whatever we can. It's not ideal, but it's, if there's an attempt to fix it, at least they'll have to recognize that and not just scrap the thing later when it's out of our hands.
Oh, Grant,
Yeah, I agree. I think we gotta give it our best shot. At least if we get some repairs done when the amalgamation actually happens. That gives us a little more leverage to keep the repairs going to. Obviously, with the larger board, there's maybe more money to juggle around and get the repairs done. I know with one day I saw on the Grand River, that's not insignificant either. It's much larger river than ours, so if they take that out, they were ours for quite a long time, but.
Kettle Creek a river or creek?
Sharon?
Yeah, just thinking about that conversation. If there are lots of other dams that would be in similar states. You know, where, how would they establish the priorities of which dams were addressed first within the entire watershed of the newly formed? I don't know, this is a challenging decision.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, members wish, the engineer is coming out, I believe, next week or tomorrow. Friday or early next week to do the spring inspection of the dam and take a look at this. Regardless of the timeline, I think there's still time to come back in July and give you what the scope is if you're not comfortable with the motion in front of you.
I'm okay with it. We talked it out. Use what we got.
Jim?
So I guess two more questions from me. When we amalgamate, will we really lose the reserves when we get into one big group? Do our reserves go into one big budget, or do we continue to keep our reserve? That's my first question.
Mr. Chair, I can't answer that. I don't know. I think the indication from the province right now has been that, you know, the reserves will be capped for the purposes they were intended, but I can't answer that.
So second question is 4 groups got to the 200 and something, right? If one of those groups can't do it right now, do we get that extra money to our project? Is that possible?
That would come at the end of the year. There would be reallocation across the province of projects that weren't able to use.
Well, that's good then. We might get more money.
Yeah, but
We don't know, but we can.
Yeah.
Before the 27 date, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Elizabeth, within this recommendation, can we, with the engineer looking at it, can we get them to lay out the next steps, and then could we allocate funds going forward so that in February, the Kettle Creek's already had that ball rolling for repairs on that dam?
I think there's enough evidence in the documentation that's gone from the board that you've been working towards that. And certainly if this project went ahead, that would be the caveat from the engineer to lay out what the next step is. Because we still are working on our 4-year capital budget cycle as well, in terms of slotting things in over the next little bit.
Are we comfortable having a mover and seconder for the recommendation in front of us?
Right there.
It's on the screen,
Right
that
now.
the staff scope the existing Dale Dam major rehabilitation project to match the partial WECI funding grant, $289,461 for a total project cost not to exceed $578,922. And further, that KCC's capital reserves be used to fund KCC's portion of the project cost not to exceed a contribution of $289,460.
I'll move it.
Jim, Grant?
Second. I know we always do recorded votes, but I would officially ask for a recorded vote on this project. Okay.
On the motion, Baldwin Sands,
Yes.
Frank Burrs,
Yes.
Jim Herbert,
Yes.
Grant Jones.
yes,
Sharon McMillan,
Yes.
JJ Strybosh,
Yes.
John Wilson,
Yes.
and Todd Noble.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
All right. Battery powered zero turn lawnmower. Scott?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, as outlined in your package, we were able to forego installing a charger for the electric car that we purchased up at the office, as we already had infrastructure in place at the shop. To be able to charge the vehicle, so we can charge it via level 1 or level 2 at the shop. So in saving that extra bit of money and having funds already budgeted for a new mower, we decided to, in keeping with trying to go battery powered, we thought we'd look at battery powered mowers. So got quotes for 3. Greenworks was the lowest cost of the 3. We actually had them come out for a demo last week. So they brought a 72-inch, a 60-inch, and a stand-up, as well as they have a full line of backpack blowers, trimmers, chainsaws. They have the whole arsenal. Yes, so we had all our field staff here and did a test on them. Everybody was very impressed with them. The mower we're looking at is equivalent to a 70 horsepower diesel mower. It's a 24 kilowatt. Can be charged level 1 or level 2, so either 120 or 240. The same infrastructure we have at the shop could be utilized for the mower. We also have an outlet at Dan Patterson that's suitable to charge the mower, and that's our largest area that we'd be cutting. Dan Patterson and the dog park is our largest property. But fully charged, it'll last 8 hours. Now, we on average cut about 250 hours per season. This mower would be primarily used here at the office and at the shop, Dan Patterson, the dog park. There's a little bit of cutting at Kirk Cousins, Belmont, and Deer Ridge. Driving it about 7 times quieter than a diesel or a gas, which is really nice. It would have no effect. Typically when we cut here at the office, we have to stop in and say, hey, anything going on that we can't make any noise. With this, you could do it and you would barely even hear it. Very low as far as what the maintenance is on it. There's 4 grease fittings on it for the front wheels and spindles. That's all there is. Everything else is sealed. So the biggest maintenance thing for us would be a blade change at the end of the year. I mean, we would still send it in for an overhaul for them to have a look at the end of the year, but no fluids, no belts, no maintenance as far as that goes.
Okay.
Grant?
So is this the same quality as like a commercial unit that you'd be looking at a Kubota or John Deere, whatever?
To Grant, through you, Mr. Chair. Yes. So this company, Greenworks, has been building commercial for 10 years. Probably one of the longest standing as far as commercial. They've been doing residential for longer. Yeah, they do have a residential line, but this is part of their commercial line.
Okay.
Jim?
To the chair, I support you buying a lawnmower. Just a question. It's a 5-year warranty. So is there any idea what the cost would be if you had to replace a battery after 5 years?
To Jim, through you, Mr. Chair, that is a question I have not asked them yet, but that is information that I could find out.
It'd be an interesting thing to find out,
Yes.
because I know with cars,
Mhm.
I've seen bills from China. Someone showed us a bill last year replacing a car battery. It was $38,000 to replace the battery.
Right.
Now, obviously, those costs have come down. It would be a question to know. I mean, I'm assuming it wouldn't be a big cost, but if all of a sudden you had to pay $5,000 for a battery or something, or anyway, it would be an interesting.
But just also on that, the mower that we're currently using at the shop is a 2015 and it has 1,600 hours on it. So these have been field tested up to 2,000 hours with no failures. Yeah, I'm not even sure. We would definitely get there as far as the 5 years for the warranty. But I don't even think before we would be trading it, I don't know if we'd ever get to the hours. But I definitely would be interested to know what the battery replacement cost would be.
A reasonable cost is no problem, right, me to approve it, but if it's a major cost to replace a battery after 5 years, then maybe it's something to look at.
Is it, oh, JJ?
Yeah, through the chair, I just Googled a little bit about EV batteries and how long they last. I know that in my family, my sister's car, the car's 20 years old and still has 80% of battery capacity. But on average, the batteries are lasting 15 to 20 years on electric vehicles. So it's more likely that we replace a mower for other reasons than the battery. That's just a quick Google suggests that we shouldn't be too worried about that.
Is there an increased cost to the battery powered one compared to the diesel one?
No, actually very similar in cost. Yeah, Kubota diesel, similar to what we're using now, is around 28,000.
Okay.
Okay. I'll move it.
All right.
Yeah, 1 second.
Lori Baldwin Sands,
Yes.
Burrs,
Yes,
You want to stop?
Jim's got a question.
just before you make up, I would like to see something in the motion that if for some reason it was an outstanding place to report a battery, I understand what he's saying about the batteries. That's normal wear on a battery. If you had a faulty battery all of a sudden, and it wasn't your problem after 5 years, you'd have to replace it. I really would like to know how expensive it was to replace a faulty battery. I'm happy to support the motion.
So you're asking for that for information after, post our vote?
That would be great. Just my thought, maybe not the thought of the board, but just my thought, we just protect ourselves there.
we can bring that information back to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So Jim?
if I was supported with that
Okay,
on the motion.
but we're not changing the motion, that's just staff direction, correct?
Yep.
Grant Jones,
Yes.
Sharon McMillan,
Yes.
JJ Stryblosh,
Yes.
John Wilson,
Yes.
and Todd Noble.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay. All right.
Enjoy it a lot more.
Thank you. I'll have that information.
Draft budget for 2027.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first draft budget is being developed with an increase of 4%. This is in keeping with the strategic work plan that we've been working on since 2024 to 2027. The minister's direction is expected that will direct the CAs to have their 2027 budgets and apportionment issued by December 31st, 2026. So this is really why we're increasing this timeline as we discussed at the last meeting. I really had thought that the direction would have been out by now. So I think it will come imminently any day. So before we get to the budget, I just thought I'd take a few brief minutes and just discuss the successes that this board has been helping the authority achieve over the last 4 years with this current strategic work plan. So we've invested over $233,000 in floodplain mapping, which is, I think, significant for a CA of this size. And we've certainly taken advantage of a number of funding proposals to make that happen. We've acquired over 50 acres of land donations. Again, we haven't seen that since the authority basically began in the 1970s. So that's a real feather and in this board's cap as well. And we've been able to increase our revenue streams as well, introducing 4 new cabins and 15 new sites at the Dalewood Conservation Area. So I think we've taken strides both to develop and increase our mandatory, but also our non-mandatory programs and services to the benefit of the entire authority. Next. So the proposed draft budget builds on that and accounts for the implementation of that 2024-2027 work plan. I've done a modest increase to the uncontrolled expenses like garbage and insurance. There is a $70,000 increase in salary and benefits, but that's incorporating everything from increases to the minimum wage, final year of step increases related to that 2022 pay equity review we completed, as well as proposed changes to the OMERS contribution rates. The OMERS, I believe, will have very minimal impact to us, but it's still something to be aware of as we move forward. And then the increase in camp, we've accounted for an increase in campground revenues of 2.5% and still an operating drawdown reserve of about 191,000. In terms of what the province has released is they gave direction at that June 3rd session that we had with them to approach our 2027 budget in the same process as we would normally. So going out, doing the municipal consultations, doing all those municipal processes with our existing participating municipalities as we normally would. And I've certainly approached it that way. They have used the term financial neutrality to approach the 2027 budgets. Again, when asked to clarify what they meant by that, they just meant that we are not to be accounting for in the 2027 budget any anticipated costs of the consolidation, just basically status quo as usual. So again, that has been built into this 2027 budget presentation. Next slide. In terms of the budget approval, you're getting the first draft budget was included in your advanced packages. With your approval today, we'll push that out to our member municipalities for consultation between June and July and bring back any of their considerations for the July meeting. And then the August 19th would be the municipal apportionment vote, and the final budget vote would happen in September. What I'm hoping by going out so early in June is that your member municipalities have a chance to, and your staff have a chance to take a look at the budget, know what the apportionment is going to be, and hopefully get this on one of your summer meetings so that we can come back in August and September and approve our budgets before the municipal elections. Next slide. So the proposed apportionment, I did receive the updated apportionment values from the province just on Friday. So these are the updated ones for 2027. So with a 4% increase, you can see the differences to your member municipalities in the far right column. It ranges from a low of $270 for Malahide up to the highest, of course, is the City of London with 27,000. And again, the City of London is already aware of that increase and has already approved it as part of their 4-year budget plan. And it actually, it's like a couple $100 less than what we had projected for them as part of the budget process. Next slide. So with that, what I'm asking for is that the first draft 2027 budget be approved in consultation purposes and circulated to the member municipalities and posted to KCCA's website. Again, there's very little change from what you've seen in the 4-year budget forecast. It's very much a status quo, budget.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate all the work that's gone into this and the moving up the time frame. Seems pretty straightforward to me. Anybody have any questions? Grant?
Just a comment, I know our staff be very appreciative because they're starting budget cycle right now, so just the heads up is it's only $2,000, still it makes a difference.
Better than last year, Grant.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Mover and seconder for the recommendation in front of us?
So move.
Oh, Lori? Get Lori on that.
So moved by Lori, seconded by Grant.
Sure.
Baldwin Sands,
Yes.
Burrs,
Yes.
Herbert,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McMillan,
Yes.
Strybosh,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
and Noble.
Yes.
And that passes.
Okay. June planning and regulations report. Maisa?
Report is in their package.
Yep.
Any questions from Maisa?
Nope.
All right. Mover and seconder? Jim? John?
Baldwin Sands,
Yes?
Bruce,
Yes.
Herbert,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
McMillan,
Yes.
Stribosh,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Noble,
Yes,
and that motion passes.
thank you. And motion to move into closed? Sharon? Grant?
Baldwin Sands? Yes? Yes.
Thumbs up.
Burrs,
Yes.
Herbert,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McMillan,
Yes.
Stribosh,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
and Noble.
Yes.
Move into closed at 10:59.